Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. This is Kim Ware coming at you in one of the final weeks of class. This week, we are really pushing hard to finish strong and doing the interview assignment along with the reflection assignment. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started talking about those assignments and then roll right into a discussion of public speaking. So what I'd really like to do first is just share my screen with you and go through assignment number 5. So let me do that first. Okay, so here you can see assignment number 5. When you open it, you're going to click on interpersonal communication, interview and analysis, and you're going to see the form that you're going to be filling out for the assignment. So the importance of this assignment is really helping you look at what is the difference between how I communicate or other people communicate with people at home in family, and what is the difference with how people communicate in a working environment. So you're going to be asking the same set of interview questions to a person who is talking about their family and a person who is talking about their work life. You do not need to record this in a video format. Again, you do not need to record this in a video format. When the word record is given, where it says record the responses to the interview questions, it just means write them down. So one thing you'll notice is that there's a lot of open-ended questions, which we talked a lot about in week 3. Particularly when we get to question number 6, it moves on to a ranking scale of 1 to 10. Please give a number along with the explanation that the person gave. So you're going to finish up your interviews. Make sure you have time to do that. If you do not work outside of your home or inside of your home where you don't have any colleagues, just interview someone who does work and can speak about a working situation. Same thing with family. If you don't have any immediate family, interview someone who is part of a family. And we know there's lots of different definitions for that, and get their take on it. So now here, I think in part 2 is where some students get a little bit confused. I want you to compare and contrast the communication. Typically, it's best to use the questions that you ask because you ask them the same questions. So compare and contrast their answers. Were they the same? Were they different? You need to have 8 different points of comparison or contrast, and you need to explain those points. Please do not write, they use technology differently. Okay, what does that mean? What does that look like? Please expand. Then in the third part, you're going to be using your comparison and contrast to help you answer the analysis. So you can see how this project is building on itself to bring you to a point where you are really able to do some in-depth analysis and show off what you've learned in this course. So when it talks about the very first bullet point is what differences exist between overall communication patterns and the leadership communication patterns, you need to be using the communication patterns that are discussed in the book. This is things like upward, downward, horizontal, and I've posted a video in the announcements to very clearly outline those. When we're talking about leadership, is there more of an authoritarian lean? Is it democratic or laissez-faire? Next, you're going to be giving advice. Again, another great opportunity for you to show off what you've learned in this class. Dig deep and use concepts from assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 4. Look back at those study guides and see what you can apply. If their communication is spot on and things are going really well, give them encouragement and use concepts. Again, I want to see that you understand what you've done in this course and that you can apply it. Your answers for each of these should be at least 1 paragraph long. So 5 to 7 complete sentences. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. I'm happy to help. Now, assignment number 6 follows right on the heels of assignment number 5. Our class is going to end on a Wednesday. I request assignments to be turned in by Thursday at midnight and grades post on Friday. So this reflection assignment is due on Tuesday. It's a video diary. You're just answering 3 questions. I'm your only audience member. try to keep it under 3 minutes. Again, 3 minutes or less, so that I can really listen to what you're saying, digest it quickly. What listening style will I be using? Content oriented, probably. So just answer those 3 questions for me. And again, I'm your only audience member, 3 minutes or less, and it's due on Tuesday after the interview assignment. So let me stop sharing my screen and move on to the next screen. And let's just get into the nuts and bolts of this crash course in public speaking.
Good job, Mom.
Not done yet.
Oh, there's no one to call.
I know, but it's recording. So I turn my computer around so that other people can be moving about their business. And here I am. It's okay, but it's cool because my kids are listening, just like I'm sure that your kids are listening. If you have kids at home and they're watching you do school and they're listening to you and they're seeing you do the stuff of life. So it's all good. It's all good, honey. So the crash course in public speaking, let's just start with a brief review of the transactional model of communication. So I encourage you to pause the video here and really study this model. These are all the things that are happening when you're speaking to someone and when someone is listening to you, when you're in dialogue, when you're in small groups, when you are doing public speaking in a podium format. So there's all kinds of stuff that's going all the time. So what I'm going to share with you today is going to help you navigate the noise, the channel that you're using, how to send your messages in a way that your audience is going to hear you and track with you. So pause. Okay, so hopefully you're done pausing. Most people are freaked out by public speaking. Even people who are actors are scared to speak publicly because you feel like people are staring at you, that you're going to mess up your words, that you are going to forget what you're going to say. You're going to get tongue-tied. You're going to start sweating. You may even faint. Well, hopefully you won't actually faint, but just, think about the biggest fear. And hopefully over the next few minutes, I can dispel any of those fears that you might have. So the why am I doing a crash course on public speaking? Well, it's because, as we talked about in the first live event, this is probably the only communication class you're going to take in your collegiate career, unless you decide to transition and become a communication major somewhere. And if you're not taking interpersonal or the survey of communication, you're taking public speaking. So you all are in interpersonal, and this is my one shot to teach you about public speaking. And it's important. And I just want you to understand it. And I want you also at the outset to know that at this point in your life, it is unlikely that you're going to be asked to speak in front of a group of people on a topic that you don't know. So as we're going through this presentation, just remember that if you're asked to speak, it's because you have information and somebody wants it. So you have legitimate power, expert power, referent power to be in front of people sharing information. And if you're not in front of a person, you're going to have a client who's going to ask you to talk about something on the spot. Please explain this to me. Or you're going to have your attorney, if you're in the paralegal program, ask you for a briefing on a case, and you're going to have to give it. So in the next few minutes, let me just try to assuage any fears you have with sharing information. So the first thing you can do, if you know that a speaking event is coming, you can do warm-ups like this. Who's with me? Who loves the big 80s hair and the warm-ups and the leotard? No? Am I the only one? Well, you'll be pleased to know that I'm not just talking about 1980s warm-ups. What I'm really talking about is remembering the breath, the face, and the body. So we tend to get nervous. We get butterflies in our stomach. We can feel shaky. So taking a moment to breathe can be super duper helpful when it comes to public speaking. So just breathing in and breathing out. And each time making sure that you're breathing using your diaphragm and not your chest. So if you put your hands on your belly right now and you take a deep breath in, you should feel your belly expand, and then you'll feel your belly contract. That's deep breathing. If we're breathing from our chest or from our shoulders, it's shallow breathing. So let's get those deep breaths in there. Count to 5, inhale, count to 5, exhale, bump it up to 6, exhale for 6, and so on until you've counted all the way to the point where you in your own body have breathed in all the air you can possibly breathe in and exhaled all the air that you can possibly exhale. Again, those nerves that we get are usually energy because we care about what we're getting ready to do, and so we get hyped up. So warming up helps expel energy. So we can also warm up our face. Your face is like one giant muscle, so you can massage around your face. You can also help your tongue out so that you don't get tongue-tied by blowing air out your lips. You can blow sound out of your lips. Are you laughing at me right now? Totally cool. You can definitely laugh at me. You can do the same thing with your tongue, air, and sound. You can also do tongue twisters to help lubricate your mouth and keep you from getting tongue-tied. One of my favorites is red leather, yellow leather. Say it with me. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Or think of any of those childhood tongue twisters that you really enjoyed. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Sally sold seashells by the seashore. Those are just a few that I can remember. So we talked about the breath, the face. Now let's just talk a little bit more about the body. Your body also, it needs to move. So you can do shoulder rolls if you're at your desk. You can do neck rolls. You can kind of twist back and forth. If you have the opportunity to stand up, you can do a few jumps. You can bend over like a rag doll and touch your toes if you can, and then roll up slowly. You may be wondering, well, this is great, Kim, but I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to do that when the attorney I work for is sitting right over there. They're going to think I'm lost my mind. Well, I'm glad you asked the question. What are you supposed to do? And in my experience, I will tell you that the bathroom in your car is the very best spot to go to. In the bathroom, you're generally alone. You can go into a closed stall by yourself and you could move about just a little bit. Again, releasing energy, same thing in your car. So this is what I mean by warming up. Just like preparing for any sport, public speaking requires a warm up so that that energy is moving and your nerves are calmed down. Now, this is probably the most important tool that I'm going to tell you. If you get to really polished speakers, they might tell you that this is a little outdated, but for our purposes, I think it is really helpful. It's the tell them adage. So we want to tell the audience what we're going to tell them. We want to tell them, and then we want to remind them or tell them what we told them. So you can help them track with you by repeating it 3 times. In general, people have about an 18-minute attention span. Look it up, and they block out. So by telling them 3 times what you're going to tell them, telling them, and then telling them what you told them, you're helping them to track with you. So today I'd like to tell you about this pair of dice. I'm going to tell you how I got them and why they're my favorite pair of dice. Then I'm going to tell you about the dice, and I'm going to use those same words. How, why, favorite. And then I'm going to wrap up by saying, so today, I told you about these dice. They're pretty groovy. I really love them. They're green. They're nice and lightweight. If you need a pair of dice, I recommend you get this pair. So you see how I went through that adage. It also helps you mentally organize so that you don't lose your place. So again, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And it's all about the tracking. Also, as a brief review, going back to assignment 2, our Abril and Associates, we talked about styles of listening. As you're speaking to people, take a moment and remember these oriented styles of listening. If you're talking to a people-oriented listener, what are they going to care about with what you're saying? and so forth. What kind of listener are you? What details are you listening for? It is important for you as a communication student to be able to navigate between these styles of listening to help your receiver receive your message the way that you intend. So again, if you need to, pause the screen right here and take a moment to look those up again. Okay, are we done pausing? Fabulous. So let's talk about your body and gestures. When we looked at week 5 in Yellow Dig, we looked at this picture of 2 ladies talking, tried to make sense of what they're doing. When you are in front of people, they're doing the same thing to you. So if I had a bunch of people here, we'd spend a few minutes maybe looking at this picture and being like, what's going on here? Are they having an argument? Did someone tell a joke? I'll let you decide, but your gestures matter. So when you are in front of people, whether you are interviewing or you're giving a podium presentation, try to keep that body language open. So by keeping your body language open, you are projecting confidence and you are projecting that you know what it is you're doing, sort of the fake it till you make it deal. So keep your shoulders down. Keep your posture and your gestures open. Try not to cross your arms. Try not to put both hands in your pocket. But again, this goes into the idea of considering context. Are you chumming around with friends, telling them about stuff, or are you in a professional setting? I think occasionally one hand in the pocket is okay, but probably not both. It looks a little too relaxed. So keep in mind your gestures. Your gestures will also help keep you from doing this bunch of swaying that people do when they get nervous, because it helps you expend energy in other ways. So again, active listening techniques, pause the screen here and just remember, as the speaker, you are still doing active listening. You still need to maintain appropriate eye contact. Sometimes we get nervous and we just look at one side. So try to break that stare and look at all members of your audience. Summarize and paraphrase what you said for them. Use appropriate nonverbal feedback. If you are receiving questions, it's okay to take some notes so that you can remember what you need to say back. And that's it. That's the end of this presentation. We have talked about so much. If you don't remember anything else, just remember that if someone asks you to speak, it's because you have information that they want to hear. They're not just staring at you for the sake of staring at you. They're not looking into your soul. They're listening for the information that you have because they want it and you have the power to give it. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm always here, as you know, to help you out. I look forward to seeing assignment 6 and assignment 5 roll on through. Again, any questions on those, let me know. Have a great day wherever you are. Bye.